All right, so it honestly astounds me at how many of you are okay with going around and how many people in society promote this idea that it's okay to be a man and to have a beer belly or to have man boobs and to be okay with that. It honestly blows my mind that you could walk around as a man and not feel so much shame and so much pain in the fact that you don't have the physique that you want, that you are not the man that you envision, that you could just continue on this path and just completely ignore what's literally right in your face. Like when you see your physique in the mirror, what do you think? Like when you get up in the morning and most of us have mirrors, right? You go walk over to the mirror and you get in front of the mirror. What do you think? Do you honestly see yourself and go, I am the man that I envision, of the highest version of myself, the highest version of me, that guy I can imagine just being, just shredded, just ripped. It doesn't have to be a bodybuilder, right? But that man that I see in my mind's eye, am I that man right now in the mirror? And for the majority of us, especially those of us who aren't even working on it, the answer is no, you're not. And so if that's the answer, that's your conscience telling you you need to change, right? You need to change. Like society has created this narrative, and I don't know what the fuck is going on, but society has created this narrative that basically it's okay for you to walk around as a man in 2024 and be fat. It's okay for you to walk around in 2024 and not be working on yourself and trying to build yourself into the best man that you can be. It just blows my mind that this is a real thing. And I know for myself personally, when I was in a situation where I didn't train, I didn't take my nutrition seriously, it was because I was at a lower level of my personal development. And when I started to get overweight, I started to feel that pain. I've told the story before a bunch of times. We were down in Florida. I went down to Florida for a vacation. We went out and I took a picture. I had someone take a picture of me out like in this sort of like this shallow beach that was on an island. And I was just like not happy with what I saw, bro. I had way too much fat on me, nowhere near enough muscle, because I just wasn't training and I was drinking a bunch of alcohol, I was eating a bunch of junk food, completely unintentional about my life. But what's interesting is many people would say, oh, you look so great, because society wants to reinforce you just being average, just being mediocre, just living within the system and staying the same. They don't want you ascending in terms of your personal development too high, because if you think about it, it's much easier to control you and to get you to do what they want you to do when you're fat, when you're broke, when you're addicted and you have all these bad habits. It's much easier to control you because you don't think that you're worth it. If you're fat right now, okay, if you're a guy who doesn't have the physique doesn't have the physique he wants, and you're not at least working on it, you're not making steps toward that, that basically means you have the mindset that you aren't worth it. That physique you have is not, the physique you envision is not worth it. You're not worthy of that yet. And that you're better off just, whatever, it's too much work. I'm just gonna sit here in this position. And I'm here to just basically say, I think it's just insane how people think it's okay to be walking around like this in 2024, especially with all the information available. You've got freaking information available on YouTube. You got information available, on tons of articles on how to actually go about this. But as I always say, that's not actually the real problem. The problem really isn't the information. The problem is really a mindset issue and a habits and discipline issue. Because as soon as the work begins to go get that, that six pack you want, as soon as the work begins for you to start getting ripped, for you to start quitting the alcohol, for you to start quitting the weed, quitting the porn, all those bad habits that are literally destroying your life, once that work begins, bro, most of you aren't going to be able to take it. The sad truth is most of you are not going to be able to take it, man. You're not. Because you haven't reached that level yet where you really want it. You have to create a vision of the man that you want to be. You can't just sit here and just go about life like as if you're in just some fucking video game. This isn't a video game, bro. Like, wake up. This isn't a movie. This isn't a video game. This is your life. This is your one life. And if you don't have a vision of the man that you want to become, you're not gonna progress. And so none of us have been given that. Well, majority of us, I can only speak for myself. The majority of people I know and for myself were never given that opportunity to think, what is the highest version of myself? What does that look like? Does the highest version of myself actually smoke? Does the highest version of myself, smoke weed all the time? Does the highest version of myself drink? Does the highest version of myself walk around with a beer belly and man boobs as a representation of the man I want to be? Like, you have to think about these things. You have to create that higher version, and every day you strive to become that version of yourself. It's not worth it, bro. It's not worth it. I know you don't really want to change your habits. You don't want to become uncomfortable, but the growth is found in the discomfort. The growth is found in the pain. There's a lot of people out here will try to convince you, oh yeah, you can get fit. You can get in the best shape in your life. You can, quit the bad habits and everything, and it's be pain-free. It'll be easy. Nah, dude. I'm never gonna lie to you. I'm never gonna fucking lie to you. I'm gonna tell you this. It is simple. The process is simple, right? The things you need to do to dial in your macros every day. The things you need to do to get your mindset right and adopt the right paradigm. The things that you need to do in order to train in progressive overload in the gym. These things are simple, but they are fucking definitely not easy. That's why the majority of people are out here doing what they do, because they're going after easy. See, that's the problem, is people are always in the mindset of what can I do that's easy? And that's because as human beings, we have this sort of tendency to go towards least resistance, right? We go towards the things that are easy because it means, higher chance of survival and all this kind of stuff. But in our modern world, that doesn't apply anymore. This is what people don't understand. In our modern world, taking the easy path leads you to destruction, leads you to the hard path. Taking the hard path in the modern world leads you to a more fulfilling life and an easier long-term future, right? Because think about it this way, if you continue down your path right now, you're unintentional, you don't train really, you don't really track your macros, you're not making sure that you hit your macros properly, you don't even have a plan, you don't even have goals for your physique, you don't have goals for your life or your habits or anything. You just kind of go about your day, get home from work, from the job that you don't really enjoy or not really engaged with, or maybe you are, but you're always out there drinking, which massively, massively affects you in a negative way in terms of your personal development. All of these things, if you're doing these things, you're basically just saying, like, I've given up. You're basically just saying I've given up on life, because unless you are intentional about your path in the direction you're headed in, you'll never get there, dude. You'll never get there. You're never gonna get to a place by being unintentional about it. You don't get in the car and end up at a specific location unless you know where you're going. So having that map, that vision of the man you want to become, that is where you get the sort of direction of where to head. And a lot of people have all these questions, they want to know, oh, well, is alcohol that bad? Or is this, it's like, dude, just stop. Just stop. You know the fucking answer. Sit down, listen to your conscience. The fact that you even have to ask that question tells me you know the answer. You know the answer. The problem is you're trying to justify it. You're trying to come up with an excuse so that you don't have to become uncomfortable. And that's one of the greatest diseases in our society these days, is everyone's trying to be fucking comfortable. Everyone's trying to be fucking, taking the easy path. So I'm not going to sit here and try to tell you that it's going to be easy. I'm not going to sit here and try to tell you, oh, it's just going to be a piece of cake. You're just going to get shredded. You're just going to get ripped. You're going to give up all your bad habits. You're going to ascend to this higher version of yourself. No, bro, it's not going to be easy. But that's actually the good thing. You don't want this to be easy. You want it to be hard. You want it to be uncomfortable, because that is where you're going to experience the growth. That is where you're going to change as a person. If something isn't uncomfortable to you, if something is too easy for you, well, then that means you've already mastered that area. It's not an area of growth for you. So if you don't feel discomfort, if you don't feel a little bit of pain, you're not doing anything. You're not really doing anything. You're not really growing. So don't listen to these people out here who tell you, oh, it's going to be easy, bro. It's just going to be so easy, no problem. Yeah, personal development. It's like, no, dude, it's not. It's not. It's simple. It's simple. It's not a complex, fucking process. But the problem is we are ingrained in our mindset, just in terms of from society and from our biology, to take the easy road. It's just that in the modern world, with all this stuff we have around us, all these distractions, all the crap that is in our food, it's like, if you take the easy road and you're not intentional, you will end up in a worse position. You're going to end up fat. You're going to end up broke and addicted. You're going to end up disliking your life. And this was the position I was in when I tell you, when I was taking that picture on the beach and I saw myself, what had I been doing up until that point? Drinking and partying, not training intentionally at all. I hadn't cultivated the habit of training. I was eating so much sugar and stuff because I was working at a store, so it was easily available. So I was eating a bunch of sugar. And my mindset was stuck in basically a position of seeking pleasure instead of seeking purpose, right? So the mindset, the habits, the training and nutrition, they were all off. I wasn't intentionally practicing any of those things. So you can see if you continue that day after day after day after day, and you continue that on a consistent basis, that's where you end up. You end up being fat, and that's how you've gotten to where you are now. If you are in a position right now where you don't like your life, the only reason that is, and you're not actually working on it and moving forward and making progress, the only reason that is because you haven't mastered your daily habits. You have not mastered your daily habits. That's it. It's so simple. Once you understand the key to everything is to master your daily habits and to literally just, number one, get the blueprint. You need the fucking blueprint so you know the right steps, because there's so much misinformation out here. You know, you got Chat GPT spitting out a bunch of just random shit that people, then copy and talk about. You need the blueprint from someone who's been through the shit. Once you get that, then you need to start understanding. Then in order for you to actually follow through on that blueprint to achieve the goal you want, you must become a disciplined man. You must become that man who can do things that he doesn't want to do. And this is why during my process, my method, right? My method is we do attack those bad vices. We do attack those bad habits. We go after the alcohol, we go after the weed, we go after these things because these are the things that are going to train your brain to say, hey, you know what? I have a lot more fun going out to the bar on Friday night and, going out there with my buddies, or maybe just, you and one other person, or just yourself, getting some drinks, potentially, meeting some girls or something like that, or, just hanging out with people and just kind of getting wasted and just forgetting about life and relaxing, right? Everybody's trying to relax. And it's like, bro, the more you go down that road, the problem with that is it keeps you in a state of comfort. And when human beings are comfortable, they do not fucking move. They don't move. You have to self-inflict discomfort in the modern age in order to make progress. That's why I wake up at 4 a.m. That's why I wake up at 4 a.m. That's why I take the cold shower. That's why I do all these habits throughout my day that are difficult and that I don't want to do, because I know the secret to me getting ahead of everybody else, and the reason I'm able to start making progress, especially this year, so fast, is because I'm willing to do these things. I've cut out the bad habits. I've trained my mind. I've adopted the mindset that discomfort equals growth. Discomfort actually will bring everything I want. Everything I want, the money I want, the body I want, the status, whatever it is that you're seeking, the cars, all of these things come when you embrace the discomfort, when you embrace becoming disciplined, when you embrace those daily habits. It all stems from there, bro. And I am telling you, if you begin this journey, your life will never be the same again, bro. The other day, I made a video about personal development, a little bit about my backstory and how it's changed everything for me. And it's like, I'm just getting started, bro. I'm just getting started. And you see all these people, you'll see all these people who are in these high positions and stuff. And it's like, you're wondering, like, what is the difference? What is it that makes that difference between that guy who's just shredded on the beach and the guy who's, the guy who's walking around and he's not confident at the beach. He's kind of trying to cover himself up, or he doesn't take his shirt off, or he just hates the way he looks in the mirror. And that horrible energy that comes from a lack of confidence in yourself just permeating the area, and just like everyone can pick up on it. It's the worst fucking thing. But when you adopt that comfort, it's like, what is the real difference? And you understand it's the habits, it's the mindset. That's all it comes down to. If you've got the blueprint, you know the steps that you're supposed to be doing. You've got your macros dialed in. You've got a training plan that works. You've got the macros dialed in. All you need from that point is to perfect those daily habits and to be hitting them every single day without fucking failure. And if you do that for enough days, just like you got fat from practicing the habits of instant gratification, eating the foods you wanted, skipping training because you didn't really feel like it, you wanted to watch some TV or play video games when you got home, or just scroll on social media. Just like those habits brought you to the point of being fat, of being broke, of being addicted, and being that man that you don't actually respect and look up to, so will the habits that are more uncomfortable. So will the habits of tracking your macros. So will the habits of training on a consistent basis. So will the habits of avoiding alcohol, avoiding the weed, avoiding that whole shit show that brings you down even into a worse position. Those habits are going to bring you to where you want to go. So why not adopt them? What is stopping you from adopting them and making sure that you can do it every single day? I've given you the blueprint. You need the vision of the man you want to create. You need to make sure you're hitting your macros. You need to make sure you're hitting your training. And that's it. And you just make sure you turn those into habits, and you make sure you master your habits. That's all you fucking need. So go and do it. Go do the work. You know what I mean? Like, you got to do the work. You got to be willing to change. If you're not willing to change, you'll never see a difference. So in 2024, there's no excuse. There's no excuse. There's no excuse for men to be walking around with man boobs. There's no excuse for men to be walking around with a beer belly. There's no excuse. There's no excuse you can tell me that's going to convince me otherwise, because I've lived both lives. I've never been this guy, like I've said, who's 300 pounds, or I've never been on the extreme, but I've been on, on each side of the middle, right? So I've been the way I am now, okay, which is the best shape I've ever been in. By the way, right now, I put on about 40 to 50 pounds from my previous cut. And you can still see abs, right? Because I did it the right way. I'm not super shredded or anything, but that's a bulk of putting on 40 pounds. So that just goes to show you, when you diet down the right way and then reverse diet back up, you do it the right way, you can literally maintain that lean look while also getting bigger and bigger and leaner and stronger. So yeah, that's basically the deal. What was I saying before? There was some other thing I was about to say, but I lost my train of thought on that one. Oh yeah, I think I was saying something about, you can't really convince me that there's a reason why you shouldn't do this in 2024 if you haven't already, if you're in this position. Because it's like, once you start living life in a conscious way, right, and you've decided, I'm going to be conscious, I'm going to ascend, I am going to take my personal development seriously, and I'm going to change my daily habits. Then you start to really understand life. You start to understand it for what it is. And the really cool thing is, that I think it's important to understand, is like, your body, the way I view this is, your body, and it doesn't matter if you're religious or not, your body is a temple for your spirit. Okay? Now, if you just believe we're animals and, there's no spiritual essence, there's no real energy like that, and we're just basically automatons, well, I don't know what to tell you. But I believe that we have a spirit. And I believe that this spirit, our bodies are a vessel for our spirit. And so by you being fat, by you not training, by you having these bad habits, by you having the beer belly, what does that represent? Like, do you want to be walking around and people seeing you and reading your energy and going, that guy is out of shape. He doesn't look like he trains. He's not serious really about anything. He has a huge lack of confidence. We can obviously feel that coming off of him. He's not attractive. Like, do you want that to be the representation of your spirit on this planet? Because if you don't, then there's no reason you can't change, right? It's just a matter of actually making the choice and making the decision to live with intention, instead of just being chaotic and just letting life happen, however it happens. And then you end up, being fat. Back in the days, in the ancient times, we didn't have to be so intentional about this side of things, because we didn't have McDonald's. We didn't have, walking into the grocery store and you got cereal boxes with like 100 grams of sugar positioned right down where all the kids are that walk by. You didn't walk into the grocery store and be able to walk around and, grab brownies and, cheesecakes and freaking even fruit, right? Even like apples and all these things that they bred to be super full of sugar. We didn't have that. So you didn't have to be as intentional. And we were constantly on the move. We were constantly moving and hunting and doing all these things. So you didn't have to be fucking intentional. You just basically hunted and ate meat. You gathered, fruits and berries or whatever roots you could. Agriculture, you would be getting grains and whatnot. But like, you were still always on the move. You're constantly moving. You're constantly taking steps. And so that's why there was not this huge epidemic that we have now of obese people. It's because we have developed the technology that have made it so easy to get food, and that food is so palatable to your dopamine receptors in your brain that people just binge eat. They just binge eat on this shit all day. And it's because they have not mastered their discipline yet. They have not mastered their daily habits, and they have not mastered the vision of a higher self. So don't let that be you, bro. Take action today. And we will see you in the next video. Have a good weekend. Think about what I said. Try to carry that through the weekend. Stay disciplined. Maintain those daily habits, and you'll be good, my man. All right. Love you guys. We'll see you in the next one.